Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story of horror set way back in 1588. It's about what happens when you flee the old world, only to run smack into a darkness that's way, way older than the new continent you just landed on. You just heard from one of the players, Zelda, and she hits on a really fascinating point. This whole story kicks off about 100 years into the Age of Discovery. But our main characters? They're not your typical settlers looking for gold. Nope. They're vampires. So when they colonize, it's different. It's not about planting a flag. It's about survival. It's about secrecy. And it's about this creeping horror. Their very presence poisoning a land that has no idea what kind of monsters just washed ashore. All right, so let's set the scene. It starts, as so many great stories do, in a dark, kind of grimy European tavern. You've got three strangers, right? Each one a total outcast, just minding their own business. But what they don't know is that they're all running from the exact same thing, and it's got a very sharp blade. Okay, first up, meet Gabriel Danluc. He's a plague doctor, with the whole creepy mask and everything. So yeah, people are both terrified of him and kind of respect him. But here's the thing about Gabriel. For him, studying death and disease isn't just a job. It's an obsession. And that kind of obsession doesn't make you a lot of friends. Next in our little group, we have Prospero de Vigo. On the outside, he looks like your standard Catholic priest, but that's just a cover. Underneath all the holy robes, he's actually a Gnostic. He's all about secret knowledge, and he absolutely despises the mainstream church. So yeah, a total heretic, just hiding right out in the open. And rounding out our trio is Alice. She's quiet. Comes across as just a simple, deeply religious woman, but that quiet exterior is hiding a whole lot of trauma. See, she didn't choose to become a vampire. It was a last-ditch, desperate act to save her from dying. So her unlife started with a pretty brutal choice. So you've got a plague doctor, a heretic priest, and a traumatized former nun. What in the world could they possibly have in common? Well, it turns out to be something huge. They discover they're all from the same bloodline, the Cappadocians, also known as the Clan of Death. And the key word here is survivors. Their entire clan has been hunted down, almost wiped out by their rivals, the Giovanni. So you gotta understand, they aren't just running from their pasts. They are literally the last of their kind, with a massive target painted on their backs. So, bound together by this pretty terrible family reunion, they make a decision. Europe is a death trap. Their only shot: flee to the Americas. They scrape together what they can and manage to buy their way onto a missionary ship heading for Mexico. The plan is simple. Find a place to hide, somewhere far away from all the backstabbing politics and assassins of home. But of course, it's not going to be that easy, is it? The journey across the Atlantic is an absolute nightmare. First, this freak, unnatural storm just barrels down on them, blowing the ship way off course. And just when they think things can't get worse, pirates attack. The entire mortal crew gets wiped out, and our three vampires end up stranded on Nassau, the pirate capital of the world. Now they have to make some seriously shady deals just to get off the island. So think about it like this. They've basically jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire. Back in Europe, the dangers were, they were political. You had the complex games of the Camarilla, the vampire government, and the very targeted hunt by the Giovanni. But here, in the New World, the dangers are raw. They're primal. We're talking werewolves in the forests, rival vampire sects on brutal crusades, and just this massive, terrifying, unforgiving unknown. Somehow they manage to get out of Nassau and finally make it to Havana. This is supposed to be it, their safe haven. But when they arrive, it's anything but safe. The city is in the grip of some kind of horrible sickness, a mysterious plague that's just choking the life out of everyone. And this is where Gabriel, our plague doctor, is completely stumped. This isn't any disease he's ever encountered. People don't get fevers or sores, they just fade. They waste away, hit with this crushing fatigue, until they lose the will to even eat or drink. The infirmary is overflowing, and nobody has a clue what's causing it. It's not yellow fever, it's not the plague, it's something else entirely. So, our little vampire group, our coterie, starts looking into it. And because they're, vampires, they can see things normal people can't. And it doesn't take them long to figure it out. This isn't a normal sickness. This isn't a virus or a bacteria. No, this is something supernatural. Which leads to the million-dollar question, right? What in the world is causing this? What kind of supernatural force is powerful enough to just suck the life out of an entire city, to make people just give up on living? And then the clues start coming in, and they are freaky. First, Alice has this horrifying vision of a skeletal ghost, a wraith, attacking a government official. Then you have random people in the street suddenly becoming possessed, just violently attacking soldiers. The pieces start to click into place. They use their own powers to investigate and discover the terrifying truth. The shroud, the veil between our world and the afterlife, is dangerously thin in Havana. The dead aren't staying dead. Okay, so just as they're wrapping their heads around this whole ghosts are everywhere problem, something else happens. A new ship pulls into the harbor. It's a missionary ship, just arrived from Europe, and it looks a lot like the one they took to get here. But Prospero, our heretic priest, he looks at this ship and he just knows, he gets this horrible feeling, this vision. That's not a ship of missionaries. That's not a ship of God. As he puts it, the ship of the damned has docked. He sees it for what it is, the source, the carrier of the spiritual sickness that's killing the city. So just wrap your head around that. They ran all the way across the ocean to escape being hunted, only to land right on the front lines of an invasion from the world of the dead. Their safe harbor is actually ground zero for a supernatural war. Which leaves us with one absolutely terrifying question. If that ship brought this spiritual plague, what else was on board?